Hello everyone and welcome to Tidal Ref Elvira Building Guide, where I tell you how to build a character or the best ways to build a character so you can use this character efficiently. So let's get right into it. So first and foremost, let's familiarize ourselves with the kit. So I put everything on screen here, basically what you can see in your skill description, and you could basically just read off whatever you need to know about the character. But in general, the most important parts about this kit is that she is a full pen DPS character that has debuffs, like some control debuffs in her kit, and a very reliable seal to help like lock down some turn 2 players or some passives that might be pesky for Elvira. So some important things to note is that no weakness set means Elvira has extremely high chance to miss debuffs. Very important. So if we take a look at her skill 3 here, as long as you have engulf, you can assume that some of these proc chances are doubled. So assuming you are not running weakness set, your curse has a 70% chance to land per target, meaning there is probably a very high chance you're missing these debuffs. The same thing could be said for the S1 with the fear and whatnot, but it's a little bit less scary for the S1. Is extremely very high, very scary for the S3, because the S3 curse damage is where all of the extra damage you're getting from Elvira's S3 getting put onto the target, and missing that curse means that you're losing out on a ton of DPS. On the contrary, for the S1, fear is a very good control debuff to put on your opponent, so running a 70% chance on that, once again, it's a very annoying RNG chance, but most of the meat and bones is going to be in your curse, so missing that is probably the worst of the worst. Now, soul burning every single S1 is probably preferred, because if you take a look once more, the soul burn is roughly, or if you don't soul burn, it is like a 40% chance to proc this, and if you have the souls to burn, just burn it. Get yourselves extra attack to heal yourself, as well as a chance to fear your opponent to keep them on lock. Attack buff heavily increases their damage. Hopefully I can get a little bit of a clip on this on screen for you, but the difference between her not having attack buff and having attack buff is widely different. It is the difference between her having a massive amount of damage to pass on through curse damage through her possibly miskilling. Her passive actually has no cooldown, so as long as there is a debuff to proc off of, any type of skill, no matter the type of skill, an extra attack, a counter attack, non-attack skills, it will push her as long as she hits that proc chance. Now, it is a 25% chance per debuff, but say you have 2 debuffs on, it's a 50% chance no matter what action your character takes, Elvira is going to push herself by 15%. So assuming maybe you pick some opener that has some level of AoE debuffing, no matter what you do on the subsequent turns, Elvira will push herself. This even means that things like dual attacks from like E7 CZN that pulls Elvira is going to push you 2 times, meaning you get a 30% CR push off of one action, which is what makes this passive extremely powerful, because as long as you have a good amount of debuffs on your opponent, you will push astronomically, like an astronomical amount. So let's talk about her artifacts. Now, like I just said, attack buff heavily increases damage, and conveniently, Twilight Calamity is the only mage artifact in the game that gives you a self attack buff. Now it comes at the condition that you need to do a non-attack skill, but as long as you're using an opener with Elvira, this should be a really easy proc condition. Now if you want to use a book to help support your opener, for instance if you're fighting through Elmo Arya, Murdered Lotus Ring or Taghole's Ancient Book is very good. For your turn 2 players that want to survive a little bit longer, Fern's Artifact is a very good option. If you're very aggressive and don't have a maxed out Twilight's Calamity, Time Matter is a very good option because it shortens your cooldowns, pushing you really close to a second S3. If you want to be super annoying, you can run Abyssal Crown for the control option on the S1, because due to having weakening set, you should have a higher chance to land Abyssal Crown stuns on top of the fear that you have on your S1. And another really good option is Fractured Memories. I don't know what it's called, but it's limited Famir's artifact. This basically enables you to play a slower Famir for higher damage, higher effectiveness, whatever stats you choose, because this artifact should CR push you behind your opener for Elvira to follow up. And of course, if you play an opener with a debuff, this means you can run her even slower, because not only are you getting a CR push from the artifact, you're also going to get a CR push from the opener's debuffs. Now, anything below here is a little bit on the cope level, so you can play it if you want to, but it's way less effective than the other ones on top. So if you choose to play it, you can play it if you like. Everything in D tier is practically useless, so don't use them. So like stated, her best set is 100% weakening set, but if you choose to play speed set, just be aware of the negatives that you have. Her 2P sets can consist of Torrent, Hit Set, and Pursuit. Pursuit set works on her, meaning her curse damage will get increased if you are in Pursuit. Hit Set means you can have a higher chance of landing your debuffs. For instance, on your control skills like your Fear, it gives you a higher chance to land that. And Torrent, of course, it gives you higher hit damage, which is good for her S3 into the target that she chooses to hit. And of course, good for her skill 1 and maybe extra attack damage. But of course, this means your pop damage is going to be lower from not running Pursuit. So it's really up to you. So preferred stats, you want to be definitely above 3,500. I put an area around 3,700. The tilde just means you can be around this area of attack. You could be higher, you could be a little bit lower, but you want to be as close to this number as possible. You want the player semi-aggressively, so anywhere above the 250 speed range is where you want to be, and a little bit of bulk if you can, and any level of effectiveness is good. And to achieve this, you do want to get somewhere of like an attack ring, attack neck, and speed beat. For our ideal build, we're bumping up the stats. We want to be as close to 4k attack as possible, and we want to be as close to 270 speed as possible, and that's going to be really hard. So once again, you could be around this area, so maybe 265 speed is enough for you, or maybe you could be a little bit faster. Bulk, we still want to have some level as bulk once more, and we're bumping up the effectiveness a little bit more to be as close to 100 as possible. Now, in terms of combo units, there's a lot of units you could pair with Elvira, but most of them want to be openers or things that can help protect her. Elvira, although she does have anti-crit, can get killed very easily by units like LGC, so if she's not protected by a boss or Runga, you can probably get sniped off. So some pretty good openers is Zio. Having Zio as the fastest unit in the game is very nice to have for Elvira. Emerald Luna, from what I've seen, if you pick her with Elvira, you're probably dead. RNL is basically the fastest opener in the game, aside from Zio, who has the CR push. So, and because of the fact that, once again, as long as there's debuffs, you can proc Elvira's passive multiple times. If you land Death Defense Break plus Blind, there's a 50% chance that Elvira will push, and then the extra attack pushes Elvira again, meaning RNL effectively can push push Elvira by 30%, which is amazing. Salome is just one of the best combo units in the game, being able to copy a unit and do whatever. Scales and Boss and Runga, I don't think need an introduction, they're just that powerful. And Christie helps turn Elvira into a hyper carry, where she can no longer be debuffed, and also helps with the CR pushing if Christie gets hit. So that is pretty much the primary reason why she's in the best combos. Everyone afterwards are just really good openers or debuffers that can help pair with Elvira. Ilanov is a pretty hard counter, especially if it's on a mini set, because, well, her S3 damage is full penetration, so picking Ilanov is a really good counter into Elvira. Christie, of course, helps you protect hyper carries, and of course, since a lot of damage is coming out of Elvira's pop damage, if you can't target who you want to Elvira, Christie will help prevent your DPS getting cursed, which will result in them dying, which is very good. LQC was quite literally just buffed, and she is quite the monstrous unit. Having LQC being a target to one-tap Elvira and cause pop damage into the entirety of the rest of the team, very detrimental to Elvira. Ross cannot be debuffed, and Arcetti basically means that she can just, press unbuffable, maybe ground stun you. And of course, Nodos is just a character that if he is allowed to press buttons, he will win the game. So if the Elvira player does not somehow double kill him or is able to debuff him, for instance, if it's protected behind Christie, the Elvira player will have a hard time. But that is pretty much it. Everyone in the counters question mark is basically things that could work into it but may not work into it, so I won't really go into that entire category. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully this helps you build the character, and I'll see you in the next one.